Would you like to get started?
Yes, let's get started.
Perfect. Well, before that, I just want to share why this series exists in honor of Malin Newton. Our classes on the second Tuesday of each month is part of the work that we at Birds iSocial do to support amazing women in automotive. We are a nonprofit built on the belief that our industry is better when we're stronger, more connected, more supportive. So that is why we're hosting these sessions because I know that shop ownership can be isolating and because leadership is learned in real time. And because we don't need more pressure, we just need clarity, language, and systems that actually work in real life, real tools. So these conversations, they're about building shops that are healthy, sustainable, and human. And that is why we're showing up. And I am so grateful that you're here today. We're excited to welcome Jeffrey Nott presenting Networking Unlocked. Jeff, he's a longtime friend and colleague, an automotive business coach, author, and a respected leader in our industry. He brings lots of experience, practical insight, and a grounded perspective that always resonates with us. Jeff, thanks for being here today, and please take it away.
Okay, thank you very much for that, and let's get started. A little bit more about me and why I'm speaking on this topic today. Well, I've been one of those people that just like to connect with lots of people. In fact, I'm not only a networker, but I'm also what you would call a connector. I've made connections throughout my life with different groups I've been part of, and part of that, of course, is fun bumping into people. In fact, when I first got married, my wife and I were traveling places, and no matter where we were, we'd bump into somebody I knew, and she says, "Where do you get these people?" I said, "Well, I've known thousands through the youth group I was organizing and working with for many years. So yes, I'm going to meet these people. In fact, we're walking down the street in Lahaina, Hawaii, and guess what? I hear this, Jeff, 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 and I turn around. There's one of my good friends. He and his wife are staying in the condo right next to ours. So as they say, it's a small world. But you're actually, the world is huge and open when you network and look to make connections with people, quality connections. Now, that works for everything in life. Now, it's not just your business. We'll focus on things in business, but we're going to talk about what you can do to network for success and unlock the riches it is when you're well connected. So today's agenda, we're going to work for next one is we're going to talk about, excuse me there. Law reciprocity. We're going to cover your elevator pitch. Yes, you don't work in an elevator, but you need an elevator pitch. I'll talk about that. Networking strategies. You have business strategies, don't you? Well, you have to have strategies when you go out to network. In fact, my whole thing this year is being intentional. Wherever I'm going to go with an intention to connect people, to enrich other people's lives and help them be more successful. And today we're going to talk about, again, that strategy for networking and the do's and don'ts of networking. Yes, there's some do's and don'ts, things you don't want to be doing and things you need to be doing when you're out there and about. Okay. So moving on, let's talk about the law of reciprocity. So what is the law of reciprocity? Well, you can see the definition there. Basically, it's the law of reciprocity. It's a social norm that suggests people feel obligated to return favors or kindness they have received from others. How many times you've done something for somebody else and they just feel compelled to do something for you? You didn't do it out of gain money or gain favor. You just thought it's the right thing to do to help somebody. And in turn, what they're going to do for you, they're going to send you a box of chocolates, a coffee card, or they're going to send you a letter of thanks for that. Whatever level you might have done, or maybe there's something they'll work hard to help you with your business. Is there something else I can do with your business? Help refer you to somebody or something else. Especially when you do a great job of taking care of your clients, what do? They naturally want to tell everybody else about you because they're so happy with the way you handled them. So we are wired to help each other. We're wired to give back. It just is. So some of the things you have to learn is to be a giver and give without expectations. What do you do when you're walking down the street and you see that someone has dropped something? Well, we want to pick up and give it to them. But what about everyday life? What are you doing when you're out and about talking to people? Are you talking about yourself, or are you trying to give people something in addition to help them whatever it might be, again, without thought, as you just naturally comes to you. Think about those people that you bump into that are great givers. Now, some people give us their opinion. That's maybe a little different. We don't need that necessarily. But if you do want to give an opinion, you got to ask, hey, can I give you an opinion or can I give you an idea? Ask if you're not sure. Or maybe they say, hey, I'm fine. Great. But be always able and aware of giving. The other thing is being friendly. Now, you had a tough day, you're working like crazy, you probably had a customer that was not your favorite, and you go home grumpy, or you go out to dinner and you're grumpy because you had a tough day. We have to shake that off, but we have to be friendly to people. Now, if you're an introvert, you may not want to be friends with lots of people. In fact, my wife's an introvert. You wouldn't, if you met her, you'd think, oh, wow, she's lively, she's nice, she's humorous, she's outgoing. Well, and she's taken lots of leadership positions over the years, but usually if you're an introvert, you know that people kind of wear you out. Not necessarily trying to wear you out, but the energy that you have to put forth to be a giver, to be friendly, maybe a little more challenging. But think about it from being as friendly as possible wherever you can, even saying kind words to people, finding something to compliment them on, that you like someone's shirt, to like their hair, whatever, without being the appropriate compliments, but be friendly. Do you talk to people when you're not, the people you don't know? If me, I'm talking to people all the time. I'm finding opportunities to talk about. I love getting, well, how if someone's got a logo or something else. In fact, I saw a guy had a little pin on his lapel at a networking event I was at a few weeks ago. And I said, that's a cool looking pin. What is that? Oh, that's my company logo. He said, I love this thing. And he went on and talked about it for a couple minutes. Do you think I was memorable? You think I was friendly? All I did was find something that was interesting to me and made a comment about that. But be friendly, be helpful. Think of ways you can help people all the time. Yeah, and we say, oh, we're in the business of helping people. That's what we do for a living. But when you're out and about and networking, what are you doing? Those people who are helpful get recognized, and it spreads you a reputation faster when you're helpful. Now, if you're part of different organizations, like I've been part of the Masonic Order for many years, we do a lot of helpful things. I've been in other groups where part of things you do is just you find things to do for other people. If you're in Rotary, if you're in Lions Club, or if any one of those other service clubs, or even if you're a part of the local business associations, we're always trying to find ways to help people in the community because that's how we're wired. And you're probably the same if you're here listening to me today. But be helpful in any way, shape, or form. The more you help others, the more you help yourself, which comes to my next quote here by Zig Ziglar said, you can get everything you want by helping everything get what they want first. Truly, that's it. You get what you give. Think about that as well. So let's talk about building your elevator pitch. Now, again, you think, wait a minute, I don't go in elevators. Well, the concept of an elevator, of course, is how much time do you have to talk to somebody on an elevator and you're trying to tell them who or what you do. Usually you've got about 30 seconds. If it's a big building, maybe you got a minute, but most of the time you've got about 30 seconds. So this is actually a good thing to build not only for that elevator or that very short intro, but it's also talks about your business. Do you have an elevator pitch for your business? What is your marketing slogan? What makes you stand out from others? What is your why? So think about all these things, and we're going to talk about building this elevator pitch. So I got a real live elevator pitch story. I'm in downtown San Jose, and there's a social club that I would frequent once in a while. It's a 17-story building on the top floor. So I get in this elevator and I push 17, and just as the door about to close, doors open up, guy jumps in, pushes number 10. And I said, oh, yeah, you work in the building? And he says, yes, I do. I said, it's a cool building to have an office. He said, oh, let's go. That's great. I said, so what is it you do? And he said, I improve my clients' golf games. You improve your clients' golf games? Are you a golf coach? He says, no, I'm a financial planner. Talk about a powerful message. Now, how many of you here golf now or golf from time to time, right? It's fun. Well, it can be challenging, but to be good at golf, there's several things you must have. Number one, you must have time. You can't play 18 holes in a quarter of a day. Go out for an hour or two. No, maybe if you go to a 9 hole, you might get it in for a couple hours. But typically, you've got a half a day at least that you're going to do that. Okay, that's just playing the game, but you're probably going to go out there to the driving range and the putting and kind of warm up and do that. The other thing is golf a cheap sport? No, it's costly to go. Well, you can get to go to the community clubs and this and that, and maybe get them, inexpensively. But those aren't the favorites, right? You want to go out with your chums and want to go to a nice place. You're probably talking 100, $200 each to go out and do that. Oh, and you want a cart? Oh, that's some more money, right? So think about that financial planner. He told his whole pitch right then and there. And I'm thinking, give me your card. I want to talk to you or refer you to other people because I already have a financial planner. But you think about what are you telling your customers? What are you going to say to people to be memorable, to stand out from everybody else? And again, you've got in most people's brains, we're short attention spans today. Everybody's got ADD these days. Doesn't matter. In fact, a friend of mine's in the radio advertisement business, and he said 1 minute commercials are dead. He said everybody's got ADD. 15 seconds, boom, that's all we sell. That's our world today. We have to talk kind of the same way. So one of the things to do when you're building your elevator pitch is how do we become memorable, but how do we get people focused on who we want to meet? How are we gonna set people's radar? So there's a thing called setting the RAS. And the RAS is actually stands for reticular activating system. What this is an ancient part of your brain that helps you to get focused on finding what you need. If you ask the brain for, hey, I'm looking for this, it's going to go out and seek that. So let me give you an example of how this ancient piece of your brain works. Imagine you're a cave person. You get up in the morning and you walk outside and grumble, grumble, grumble. I am hungry. So what do? You're wandering around looking for something to eat. And so your brain isn't worried about the trees, the clouds in the sky, anything else, but where is that critter I'm going to have for breakfast? Now, the other part of your brain has got something else to be considered. So there's out in the forest, there's other critters out there that have you on their menu. And their focus, their RAS is trying to find you. So your brain is actually working on two sides, to one to protect you, the other one to find that. That is a very, very powerful tool. Your pitch should help activate the RAS of your audience. So I'm gonna program your brain right now. So, and this works for me every time. And you're gonna shake your head when this happens to you in the next 48 hours. But I'm gonna tell you, do not look for any convertible vehicles. Do not look for any convertible vehicles. Now, there aren't that many convertibles in my neighborhood. Maybe if you're in LA or other places close to the beach, you'll see more of them. But let me tell you how that works and how active that works. And you're going to see it. But I did this workshop with another bunch of coaches. We were pitching different things and talking about things. And I talked about the res. And I said, do not look for the convertibles. An hour later, we all jump in my rental car and we're going down to have dinner. And someone in the back said, Jeff, there it is, there it is. And there was a convertible, not more than a couple of minutes outside of our meeting, and it shows up. We all laughed, but again, you're trying to set the RAS of your audience. What kind of verbiage can you use? What kind of things can they identify when you are trying to tell people who you are looking for, or in this case, the financial planner looking for people to love play golf. They want to improve their golf game. But it's to think about the specific words. So it'll take a little time, but you think about it, you will. The next thing is we want to be memorable. Do you think that financial planner stuck in my brain? Yes, that happened 20 years ago. Still sticks in my brain. It's the best one I've ever heard. And so we could think about how we being memorable. We're clever, could be funny, could be poignant, could be serious. whatever that message is you're trying to produce, think about how it can be memorable. What are the key words? What's the phrase? How did you deliver that? Are you delivering like, oh, I help my clients improve their golf game? No, say, man, I help improve my clients' golf games. Wow. What are the key words that are going to stick in people's brains? We can talk about broken cars and people that, well, that's kind of clumsy. But think about the different verbiage that you can use. And I'll give you some samples in a second. The other thing is know your target audience. Now, I have this challenge with all kinds of different business. In fact, I coach high school students how to make a better pitch for their product, or they do different kind of role plays. And one of the things, for instance, we're going to pitch a product, just like they do on Shark Tank. So they make this product up, and they're supposed to have a budget, and they're supposed to have what their unique selling proposition is, which is our elevator pitch, by the way. All these different things, and then who are their target audience? They take a primary and a secondary. And they do the same thing that so many other people do, and I've heard it thousands of times from people, is I'm looking for anybody with a blank. If you say I'm looking for anybody with a car, well, that doesn't tell me who your ideal audience is. Who's driving that vehicle? How much money do they make? Where do they live? Why do they drive that vehicle? Now, if you tell me I'm looking for people who love their BMW or Mercedes, and they live within 5 miles of my business. Now, I had people come farther from mine, but anyway, doesn't matter. Who is that ideal client? The person that you want to come in and pay you because they love what you do and they're the best people. You don't have to take everybody. Everybody says, I want anybody. No, when you say anybody to me, that means nobody. Think about this. Here's something else, and Bertie will tell you this too. How do you mail a postcard to anybody? Or if you're going to send a postcard out to anybody with a vehicle, how much is that going to cost you? If you specialize in Mercedes or BMWs, how much money those people make? Where do they live? What kind of things, food do they like to eat? Who do they hang out with? The other thing is in setting your res, it's not necessarily the clients you're looking for. Yes, you say, I'm looking for nothing, but you are looking also for some good power partner, aren't you? When I go out and about and meet people, I'm looking for the people that service you, the automotive people, who services your business. You got a commercial insurance broker that covers your building, your liability, and your workers' comp. You got a small business banker, not the guy that wants to deal with people 100 million and above, but the guy that deals with the businesses, the small businesses like yours that do a $500,000 to $5 million. Those are unique people, and some of them are phenomenal people. In fact, I have met a guy recently wants me to deliver workshops, little mixers for some of his clients. He's going to pay for the food, the marketing, and everything else. Well, can't beat that with a stick. So think about who your power partners are, because those people are also good for you, and you're going to meet those people when you're out and about networking with different groups. Now, before I forget, where are you networking? The idea of your networking, there are places like BNI or other formal networking groups. You've got the people that at the chambers. If you're not a member of the chamber, you should looking at joining the chamber. I've been to many chambers. And funny thing is, I don't see that many automotive repair shops there. But with the ones I do, say they're getting a ton of business because they're the only people out and about talking about their business. So I think about that. The other thing, I'll make a pitch for the chambers is if you got a problem with City Hall, the chambers are there to help try and alleviate those pains. They're out there trying to promote the small to medium-sized businesses so that they can thrive and survive. So think about different places you network. The other thing is if you join a Rotary. Now, if you're joining a Rotary or any other service club, what I don't want you to do is we don't want to sell yourself right then and there and everybody buy. No, you go there to volunteer, to show up for the camaraderie, get to meet people. But in the process, you're going to use your elevator pitch to introduce yourself and get to know people and tell them what you're looking for and help them with what they're looking for. And eventually you'll get a lot of that business. Now, I was part of an automotive association when I used to sell all data programs way back when. I joined the local automotive service club. In fact, I was president of the San Jose chapter of the ASECA. We had a rule there that vendors could come and not pitch services, but pitch beneficial things that their products might do and how we might use it generically in their business, whether you're an attorney selling products or what it was. Me selling software, I talked about things about developing business. How do you handle a customer? A number of different things whenever I was allowed to present. And yes, I got 30 seconds to tell people what I did, but after being there for a few months, everybody knew what I did. In the many years I was in that business working for that company, by the time I retired from that company and the ASC at that point, because I moved out of the area for a while, I owned 80% of the business and I didn't have to ask for it. I got it because I showed up and I gave to the organization. And I'm that's how you do that. And I know plenty of other people who've done the same thing within their own organizations. So thinking about how those people are going to work with your elevator pitch is going to maybe slightly different when you're talking to those people, but you're still trying to set people's RAS to help you find the people you need. And we actually we network right now in the ASCCA. We got yeah, every time someone says, "Hey, I need this part. I need an attorney over here. I got a client up in Timbuktu. Do you know anybody in Timbuktu?" And somebody in that group will know somebody in Timbuktu to help your client. So that's part of this whole thing and why we're talking about setting up a good elevator pitch for who and what you do. Let's move on. Let's talk about the do's of networking. What are the do's? Well, first one is have a goal. If you're joining an organization, like I said, their goal is not to get people as your clients. You're looking for them to ask for referrals, or if they're ASC, that's you're already in that business. You're looking to find other things when you network there. But when you go and network somewhere, be intentional. Figure out how many people do you want to meet today. Now, meeting everybody is not the goal. I don't want to meet everybody. I'm looking for key people that I can put in my network. I'm looking for HR professionals, a small business banker. I'm looking for the great insurance person. Always looking for other sources of services that I can help my clients. Hey, you don't like this person, or you don't jive with some people. Some people will work with a different introduction, right? So think about that goal. What do I want to do when I'm out and about and doing this? Have some fun. Have fun going out there. Now you say, well, but I'm an introvert. I understand. But think about what fun you can get out of it. Think about the people you're going to meet, and you don't have to meet everybody. You're only looking for a small cadre of people. You're going to see people that you meet there. When you go out and do this enough, you'll meet some other people. You want to get social, to have some fun. If you're not having fun, that find another way to get fun. Somebody else to help you tell a joke or something, get out there and feel better about it, but figure out how I can enjoy this as much as possible. And think about the eventual outcome. Imagine all the people you meet in different places, like me, that you're going to bump into. Now, again, if you're an extrovert like me, that's half the fun right there. Let's talk about remembering names. How do we remember names? So there are multiple tricks in remembering people's names. And here's how you can also get them to remember you more. So you see a name that's spelled interestingly. I ask people, that's an interesting spelling of your name. I've not seen that before. Is there some family heritage there? And the next thing you know, we're talking about, oh yeah, my mom did this, or as an uncle, or whatever it might have been. Or you might ask, I've not seen that name before, especially a last name. What part of the planet is that? Are you from, or your history? And now what happens? They talk all about themselves. You want to get people to talk about themselves because you want to find out more about them and how you can maybe work together. The other thing about remembering a name is use the name a few times in the process of talking to them. It'll stick in your brain better. The other thing is there are some ways, little tricks to remember their name. I met a guy just recently. His name is Randy. Well, he's my brother. So I can say, oh, he's my other brother, Randy. Have some fun with that. We'll both laugh, but I remember that guy. Or the other thing is, what kind of word associations can you put to that person? So I was in the oil company in the um, through the 80s and the early 90s. And one of my representatives from the oil company, his name was Bob Logan. Now, I remember this guy to this day. I haven't seen him sadly, he probably has passed on. We're a couple old guys. But anyway, the thing is, I remember him, I remember his face, everything. And I thought, Bob Logan. And I tried this myself. I said, well, Bob, like that's easy, but Logan. Well, Logan. I just had this image of me holding a pistol, a lot of friends and family in, hunting, but holding a low gun stuck in my brain forever. So think about associating names with other things. Or if they have a name like another good friend of yours or a family or something else like that, it'll stick. And don't hesitate to ask. Well, here's another fun one I do too. So meet people all the time, as you do too, and you meet somebody with an interesting accent. Clearly, it's from some other part of the planet than the United States. And so I'll ask them, so that accent, you from Alabama? And I get people laugh because that's clearly not from Alabama. And they said they're wherever they're from. But it's fun to do that. Now, here's something you got to be careful of. If you meet somebody from England and they got a British accent, of course, don't say, "Oh, are you from Australia?" Some Brits will get irritated because they used to send people to Australia where they were all criminals. So there's still that angst in there that goes, for generations. So I will use that thing and say, "Are you from Alabama?" And again, I always get a laugh, and I'm memorable, and they become memorable to me. They will not forget me very easily. So you do the same thing. It'll help you do that. But if you forgot a name, it's okay to say, listen, I know we met a while back, and I'm a little challenged with names, and we all are, because part of the problem too is we're not listening to hear, we're listening to get ready to speak. We want listening to what they're saying so we can say something on behalf, and you're not even listening to the name at all. It goes in one ear and out the other. So we have to work hard at doing that, and that's part of what we need to do when we are talking to people. Master the handshake. Now, in this day and age, there's a lot of people aren't anxious to shake hands because of disease and COVID and all the rest of that. So you can do a virtual high five, or you do the fist bump. In fact, they did the fist bump with a guy this morning. Especially in our industry, when I'm walking in and talk to a shop owner or a tech, and they want to shake hands, but it's kind of grimy, so we do the fist bump. But if you're going to shake a hand, two things: don't be the vice grip. Oh, and also don't be the limp, limp dead fish handshake. You ever had one of those? Oh, ugh. It just have a nice firm handshake. In fact, there was a woman I met in another networking group, and she's the local organizer for it. And she shook my hand. I'm stronger than most men. It was very impressive. Not so hard, but she was full of energy, larger than life. But master the handshake. And if someone doesn't want a handshake, again, be sensitive to that as well today. That reminds me of something else. There are different cultural differences that it's not in here. As I just remembered, it is a business card. If you give a business card to somebody, if they are from Asia, you're going to want to put the card in your hand like this and offer it to them. And they will do the same they'll have maybe both hands on each corner of the card and hand it to you the same way. Be sensitive to that. It's a cultural thing, but it shows care and it shows concern and it shows that you are sensitive to that culture and you'll be honored by that and remembered. Take notes. People say, take notes? Yeah, take notes. I have a little pocket note thing I can use, but also on people's business cards. Now, some of them are so glossy you can't write anything on them. But before you write on a business card to take notes for that from that person, is you ask, can I, it's okay if I write on your card. Again, it's one of those cultural things. People say, well, but I think this beautiful card and you got to write on the thing. So, and I've got some very nice cards that are triple layer and they got partial glossy and they're cool looking cards. I don't hand them out everywhere, but I connect either by the card when it's important or I use LinkedIn for my connections. But I'll take notes on the card. I want to know their key customer, who they're looking for, a little bit about their business, make some key notes. So, and even where I met them and the date. So if I come across their card lost on my desk 6 months later, that's right, I met them there. I can call them up and have a conversation because now I know some things about them that's remembered on the card. So take notes. And if you don't want to do it on the card, again, take your little you can buy those little things about this big that you can put in your pocket. Always carry a pen with you and take notes. Again, it's showing honor for that other person. They're going to be impressed because how many people do that? Very few. Very, very few do that. Find commonality. How do you find commonality? Ask questions. We want to ask questions of the person about their business and just how'd you get in the business? Or where are you originally from? Find out, find some commonality. I was born in St. Paul, Minnesota. Now I haven't lived there since I was a kid. Go back on a regular basis to visit friends and family. But it's funny how many people I bump into that have been to St. Paul. Either they worked there for 6 months, they moved there for a while, or their family's from there. It's amazing. And the thing is, we all seek for commonality, for some connection in one form or another. They say we're separated by 5 different levels. Sometimes it's even shallower than that. But it doesn't matter. We are looking for that connection. And in fact, I did this workshop for the chamber recently, and I asked everybody, anybody here been to St. Paul? And 2 people raised their hands out of 15, 20 people. And we started chatting a little bit. Oh, yeah, this one guy moved out there and he worked for 3M, which is a massive company, for about 5 years. And then another guy said, yeah, well, I was born there. So now we have something in common. We may not like anything else. We might eat entirely different food, but we still are connected by one thing in common. Find some commonality. Talk to other people, ask them my questions, and it'll naturally come up. If there's something like I mentioned, they're wearing a lapel pin, or there's a logo that looks interesting, or something else about them that they can open up and start talking about it, and you're going to find some connections. So ask questions about, it's kind of the common now, but ask questions about them. Ask about their needs. What are you looking for? Who's your ideal client? You should be able to answer these questions yourself. Who is it? And I ask all the time when I'm out and about, who do you need in your business today? I'm not, I'm not here to sell myself. I'm trying to find out what they need. I may not be able to meet their needs today, but I probably have a connection somewhere that I can connect them to. Or maybe not now, but I said, let me think about it and I'll get back to you. If I have to, I might call you back and get some more information from you. But ask questions. Ask what they like about their business, what they don't like about their business. Don't want to go down the negative side of it, but what's their biggest challenge? Or better yet, ask something fun about it. What was your best interaction with a customer this week? Think about the stories that they're going to tell you. And when they share stories, we're drawn into that. So how can you tell a better story, even of yourself? It's it was funny. Talk about Malin when I was talking to his daughter at the service we had for him, and she said, Dad, I hear all these stories about what Dad told us about us, and I'm thinking, I don't remember our life anywhere near that good. Because it embellish it. We all have to embellish a little bit. I'm not saying lie, but the stories we tell about ourselves and about our family and the things that happen are a little more fun when you just kind of just soften the edges a little bit and have a little more fun with it. But those stories make you memorable and make those people memorable to you. So think about that. Don't ask like you're interrogating though, right? It's a casual conversation. Follow up. Now, this is a challenge for all of us, but you meet somebody, you get a business card, and or even don't get a business card, but you get their name, and maybe you're going to connect on a great place, Alignable. That's a great place for every kind of business to be part of. If you're not on Alignable, you should join Alignable. In fact, several of my clients are on there, and they get referrals, referral partners, and referral business through Alignable. And they also have virtual virtual networking events and live networking events at all different times of the day and week. So you should get on that. But follow up, meaning that if you're on LinkedIn or that person's on LinkedIn, you should be, even though we don't see a lot of, actually, correct me, I'm stopped there. People say, oh, we shouldn't be on LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn tends to be, you'll see the attorneys and the advisors and all that, but there's a huge, huge segment of automotive businesses on there. In fact, I recently signed up for Sales Navigator just to see who out there and is connected. And there are tons and tons of automotive repair people in every shape and size, dealerships, fleets, regular repair shops, small chains, and suppliers all over the place, and actually get some great information about the industry that you could use at your shop and understand what are the trends, what's happening, understanding that, and it will help you also with sometimes with diagnosing those issues because there are different reports of different things on there. There are other places that are better for, the diagnostics, but know what's going on in the industry. Again, that's another good place to get a deep dive in another portion of that. But follow up, connect up if they're on Alignable, if they're on Facebook, if they're on whatever social media you are, go and sign up on it. Follow their business if they just have the business. Ask to join, become friends. Comment on their postings on any social media they're on. You say, oh, that's a lot of work. Well, you hire a VA to help you do that. And a lot of things too these days, there's so many things that just you make a couple of what I do. I love sending happy birthday wishes to people on Facebook because of all the birthdays there, right? Well, every year I come up with a different salutation. So this year, when you say happy birthday, hope your voyage around the sun this year is better than the last, or the best year ever, or whatever it might be. So I have fun using something a little unique, and I'm following up with those people. I become memorable for something as simple as I've copied that phrase for the year, and I just copy and paste. I don't have to type it every time. Find those little time-saving gestures. You can make up your own canned note when you're following up. Hey, great to see you at the event last week. Let me know how I can connect you with this person, or I'll keep me in mind if you need X. But follow up. Again, it makes you more memorable. Okay, the don'ts of networking. Yes, there are don'ts in networking. Number one, when you're out there in a group and in this a large group, don't get stuck. It's easy to get stuck seeing somebody, and me, no, I'm shy and retiring and don't talk much. You meet somebody, they say, you work with them all the time, but you're good best of buds, and next thing you know, you're stuck talking to each other for 20, 30 minutes. Most of these networking events, if you go to the external events, are only about 90 minutes, 2 hours on average. If you spend 20, 30 minutes talking to one person, how do you meet your goal there? So that's the other thing about setting those goals. If you say you meet somebody and start chatting, you say, "Hey, Charlie, I love chatting with you, and we great time. But we both came for what? To meet some other people. Let's go out and do that." And I'll talk about a power move you can do to move that person with you. But don't get stuck. The next thing is don't be a chatterbox. If you got a bunch of people there and you're talking blah 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 blah, blah, too much, it's easy to slip into that. It's easy to talk about us or stories or whatever and dominate the conversation, even if it's just one other person. If you're doing all the talking, you ain't doing the listening. And the adage, right? We have one mouth and two ears. That means we speak half as much as we listen. And in fact, there's a funny story in How to Win Friends and Influence People. If you haven't read the book, you need to read the book. It's probably one of top 10 books you should read before you read anything else. Anyway, in one of the chapters, he says, the author says, how to be a good conversationalist. So he went to this big fancy ball or something like that, or some princess or some socialite that was, the talk of the town. And so she meets him. He introduced himself, and she says, "I hear you are the best conversationalist." He said, "Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that, but I do okay." And then he asks her a question. He noticed something about a brooch or something like that, and tell me about you. And he asked a couple of questions, and she said, in the news the next day, she said, I couldn't believe what a great conversationalist he was. It was Andrew Carnegie, right? So, wow, how the heck? He said nothing comparatively. So we must think about talking more. That's the do against the opposite of being a chatterbox. Here's another one. Look elsewhere. You ever go someplace and you're talking to somebody and they're looking over here and they're kind of look at you a little bit and look over here and they just look they're not interested in you. It's easy to get caught in a trap and because you see other people too. Oh, I got to talk to that person. Look at the person in the eyes. Answer their questions. Ask them questions after their questions. You know, look at them. You're trying to keep that conversation to, I would say, keep it to a 5 minute conversation. If you get stuck with somebody that's talking, that's a chatterbox, again, that you say, listen, I know we both want to meet a lot of people. I'd love to talk to you some more. Can we do a coffee? Let's set up a coffee meeting, or let me come by your shop, or let me come by your business, or come by my business. Right? Come on over. I'll give you a tour of the place. You want to try and close up that conversation and go out and meet your goals. It's a challenge, but don't do this thing and start looking around because then they're going to think, well, that person's not interested in me and all. You're going to be memorable in the wrong way. So think about that. The other thing is there's a thing called don't keep the circle closed. You ever been in a networking event where there are two or three people, mostly three or four people, and they're in this tight little circle? And you want to meet one of them, you want to get involved in that, but they're so tight and they're so focused on each other, they can't let anybody in. And believe me, if you've done this before, you know how you feel. Feel like was something wrong with me? They won't let me. I want to meet these people. Every one of us knows at least 200 people we can call up tomorrow and say, hey, can you go talk to this person? At least that many. And we're in businesses where you probably know way more than that. You probably have a lot of your clients. That's several hundred more. How about in your social circle? You have people that hundreds of people. That circle is keeping people out from letting you to partner with more people. So what you want to do is if you got three people together, stay open a little bit. Don't keep it closed. Go to four, you open it, maybe it gets a big circle, but you allow other people to come in and be aware of that. No one wants to be left out. I don't care how big your ego is, you don't want to get left out. Don't leave those people out because you're losing out on that. Bring them in. They're going to be more. You're going to be more memorable if you initiate that. Let this be. Hey, come on over here. Introduce yourself. Don't be judgmental. Some people may be a chatterbox when they're nervous. Some people wearing different kind of clothes than you'd expect. Why'd they wear that here? Or could be any number of different things they do that you're seeing little snippet of their lives. Don't judge that, especially if someone has been there for the first time. There are people are going to do crazy things in different situations, and they just don't know what they don't know. I'm going to talk about one of those in a minute. But think about those people. Think about yourself the first time you showed us something like that. Or maybe you never had an education like this. It's a skill to go out and network and be a good conversationalist. It takes time and takes energy. And so it's just like picking up your phone and answering the phone at the shop. If you don't answer the phone with a smile on your face, it's going to come through that you're not happy today. Tone is going to be different. People are going to judge you on that. So we got to be on 24/7. If you don't feel like you're in good shape here, walk outside, take a quick couple of breaths outside, jump back in again. Sometimes it's just that I've been in a situation where, I was off my game a little bit. I think, maybe I'll go home. Next person I met was a great contact, and we've become actually pretty close friends in business because I stayed for one more person. In fact, in sales, you've heard about in sales, is they say, you having a tough day, and you think I'm going to cut it off for being outside sales. Some days think, I just want to go home. No, one more, one more call. Just make that one more call. Sometimes that's the biggest sale of the week, that one extra call. It's that extra effort of jumping back in, giving that person a break and not judging them. Because someone's judging you, it would be the same way. But we're not going to do it there. Talk while eating. Well, here's a tip. Don't eat a bunch of food. We go to these events and there's lots of food. Some of them's just, finger foods, whatever it is. But when I go there, I like to go a little early and I'll eat a couple of quick things and get my beverage. But then I don't eat throughout the evening. I've seen people though, they're chawing where they're talking. Sometimes that can be some people have that culture. It's okay, but we're not going to do that. If you need to eat ahead of time, or maybe you're in between, but get in that place where you're amongst other people that are eating, so you're sharing that space. But try not to talk when you've got food in your mouth. It's always a challenge. Don't give up. Don't be a wallflower. Don't be afraid. It kind of talked about that a little bit earlier about being judgmental and being in a circle. But the thing is, it's easy, especially if you have a tendency to be a little more closed, and you're not the talkative person like me. But even myself, sometimes I said I think I'm tired. It's been a long day. But no, we got there for a purpose. Stick to the purpose. Stick to what you're doing and what it's going to mean for your business or for your life. You might need somebody to help you with your personal lives, but you'd be at that's financial planner, that are the counselor. If you need to get your trust and will up to date, there's all that kind of stuff you have to have that's not part of business. And there's a ton of people out there you need to meet and get those referrals. If you need any of those people, you call me. I don't care where on the planet you are. I've got connections across the planet. I'm not trying to brag about that, but I have several different networks that I can call. If you need somebody in Boston, I got somebody in Boston that can connect you to the right person. You need somebody in Florida, Washington. I don't know. You care. You let me know. I've got some connections somewhere with any one of my organizations. I can help you. And if I'm not out there doing my job of meeting you, I can't help you, can I? And you can't help me. So don't give up. There's people out there waiting to meet you. If you don't believe it, you got to tell yourself every day, there are people out there waiting to meet you. I want to meet you. I don't care. I want to hear about your story because I love to hear business stories. Don't sell. You're not there to sell your business, not the business itself, but sell your services. Everybody in that room wants business. Now, there are people that go out there and they are actively trying to sell. But who's buying? In fact, I was listening to a sales book recently, and yes, I'm still reading sales books. I've been reading books forever. My wife says, "Why are you reading a sales book? You've read them all." And no, I have not read all, but I read a great one recently. But he had some great things about when you're out there networking or running a workshop, whatever else, how many people in that audience are ready to buy your product right now? Same thing with our business in automotive is how many people want an oil change today? They only need it, what, 2, 3 times a year? If it ain't broke, I'm not coming to see you. How do you get me in the window? I mean, get me in the window, in the front door. It's we're the different service industry we used to be. Used to be everything was breaking and people came in because the cars were broken all the time. Back in the day, I remember I had one week I sold 5 water pumps in a week. Actually, no, one day. I had 5 water pumps come in one day. The fifth one, I was doing a smog on the vehicle and it was started leaking as I'm smogging it. How many water pumps have you replaced in the last month? We used to stock them. They would go bad so often. But back to the thing is, if we're selling ourselves, yes, we're selling ourselves, but we want to present ourselves as this is what I do. These are the people I'm looking for. How can I help you? Because these people aren't buying. But I will say again, automotive, there's not a lot of them that show up to a lot of these events. And if you say, I do this, oh, you do. There's a good chance. Well, hey, I got a great mechanic already. You know so and so? Oh, I know so and so. You have a great shop. Never throw anybody else under the bus, right? If someone says something about a person that um, another business owner, another shop owner, let's be cautious about make sure we never throw anybody else under the bus, even though that person thinks they're wonderful and you know differently or think differently. But the idea is don't have to sell your product. You're there to connect with people and find other people to connect. And yes, we know you're advertising your business, but don't sell. Here's another one that's kind of funny. So just pass out cards. You're not there just to throw your cards out to everybody. You're there to connect with as many people as you can reasonably do. I look at it say if I connect with 10 to 15 people at a networking event, that's a lot of connections at 5 to 10 minutes a piece. It's going to be tough to get to all those people in the room. I'm looking for key people, and I can even ask, hey, I'm looking to meet this person. I'm looking for a commercial insurance broker. Who do you know? Well, I don't know, but this guy might know. Take them over and introduce them, that kind of thing. But don't pass out your cards. So, as I mentioned, I did this for a workshop for the chamber about 2 months ago, and 2 days later, we were at a nighttime mixer. We were at, I think it was Top Golf. It was kind of cool. And we're in the dining area eating, and I was one of the attendees was sitting next to me, and she was thanking me for the information. And while we're sitting there, all of a sudden this woman shows up, and she's tossing out literally like she's passing out playing cards. She's dicing these things out to everybody, and she just went from our table to the next table. She didn't ask us anything at all. She just said, "Here's my card. Here's my card. Here's my card. Call me," just like that. And the woman looked at me and she kind of laughed. She said, "Did it wrong, didn't she?" You don't want to be one of those. It's like throwing mud at a wall and see if it sticks. You want to be memorable in a way of you're there. Can I give you my card if you know somebody that's having issues with their vehicle? Maybe they want to give us a call. Because a lot of people know other people say, I need to find a good mechanic. Do you know a good mechanic? They're asking their friends or neighbors. That's one thing you sell is say, if you know of anybody that's not happy with their current technicians, have them call me. You're not telling that person, you're not trying to buy, get that person to buy from you. You're just saying, if you know somebody that's not happy with their shop or want a second opinion, please have them give me a call. So don't be the card passer owner. Okay. We got any questions out there? Anybody raising their hands? Okay. Okay. So here's some power networking tips. These will help you become a power networker. So it is pretty cool. In fact, some of these things, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about some of the experience I've had in working these power moves. Number one, partner up and work a room with a friend. Especially if you're an introvert, you pick somebody like me to be your partner, and I'll get you out there to meet people. But the nice thing about partnering up is it does a couple of different things. There's a whole theory of 2-on-1. And I actually got this from a friend of mine years and years ago. She was actually a realtor, and the realtors have their own networking classes and some things. And she showed up with a friend and introduced her friend to me, and we chatted a little bit. It was really cool. I thought, oh, I like that. And so I started doing that from time to time with a couple of my friends. But what's nice is, first of all, you don't introduce yourself. You have your friend introduce you, and then you introduce your friend what they do. Now, imagine you're the other person standing there looking at these two introduce each other. They're talking about each other, building each other up, not building themselves up. Powerful, powerful, memorable to the person, the third person, or maybe it's somebody else that's a couple of people there. But when you do that, it's amazing. First of all, it makes me feel good when someone says some nice things about me. Wow. Wow. That sounds good. I like to hear my own commercials or other people's commercials. Anyway, do that and it'll make a big difference. As I mentioned earlier, connect on social media. Invite them to connect on social media. Interact with their postings. Post something there and make some comments. Follow them. That's the other thing. Follow those people wherever you can. On LinkedIn, there's things as follow, or same with Facebook. Follow those people. Power partners. Someone says to me, "Hey, I'm looking for a commercial broker. Do you know one?" That's it. There's a guy right over here. Let me introduce you to that person. Like when you go to the hardware store, the hardware people are supposed to take you directly to that thing you're looking for. You be that person that's supposed to be doing that job. And then going to events, invite other people to other events. Maybe you're putting on some events or there's some activities in town. Hey, I heard you like Maine lobster. I love Maine lobster. Well, hey, the Maine lobster truck is going to be out here next Tuesday. Why don't you come on out and you get that? Help those people get out and about, and people are going to remember you because you're doing something for them and you're not asking for anything in return. I'm known in my community as a super networker. People say Jeff knows everybody. I don't know everybody. I probably forgot more people than I remember. But the thing is, I do know a lot of people, and I'm always looking to help those people. You get memorable by doing those small things that don't cost you anything. So the next step, if you're not in a chamber, join it. You should be part of that. Or another, then the other thing is you want to build and polish your elevator pitch. My pitch is as simple as we provide freedom for our clients. Wow, what does that mean? What do you mean? How do you do that? Well, we make sure they have dependable, reliable transportation. Wow, that's different from everybody else, isn't it? What you say, you could look at that as far as also what is your unique selling proposition? Why do you do what you do? I used to tell my clients, well, we do this because we love our grandma. And they say, why do you love our grandma? We fix your car like it's grandma's car. And we love our grandma. I mean, that's chummy, right? But you think about what matters to you. Why did you open those doors, and what can you do to stand out? I also said explore those local events, look at the calendars on Facebook, Eventbrite, etc., and get out and network. It's those. I mean, it's half it's social, half it's business. But we want to be social, and people find out about our business. We don't have to work in the business. The other thing is we explore the world of leads groups and bring a friend and or a power partner. There's all different kinds of leads groups. Like BNI is not the only one. It's one of the big ones in there, but there's individual groups, or you could also join a mastermind. There's lots of different opportunities to get out there and do it. Get out, leave that shop by 5 o'clock, close it up, and go out and do that at least once a week, or maybe every other week. Be surprised how much better you feel when you meet people and the results you're going to get out of that. So I'm going to close up with this here. I like this, a personal phrase of mine. So the difference between success and failure is quite small. The difference is what? Just little tiny, like really, it's the little things you do or don't do that makes a difference. What I talked about today here is simple, simple things. It's a lot to take in all at once, but what they say, eating an elephant, take one bite at a time. Work on that elevator pitch. Look for some place to network. And when you meet those people, say, "This is my first time doing this. If you haven't done it already, or I want to get to know some people in town," whatever it might be, there are people there to help you do that. Don't bypass that. So I want to thank you for your time. And is there any questions? Nobody raised their hand. Everybody's got the homework done. Okay, send me the homework. There's my email. Tell me when you got done. Feel free to ask me some questions. I'm going to make a pitch about my book. My book, One Week, One Thing, is my own operating process for small and medium-sized business owner. You can get a copy on Amazon, or you can go to oneweekonething.com and order there. I appreciate that. And I also want to, of course, make a pitch for the sponsors here, iSocial and Amazing Women in Automotive. And with that, again, I'll thank you, and I'll pass it back to Melissa. Birdie.
Jeff, thank you. Boy, I appreciate not just everything that you shared, but how you shared it. I'm even still loving your elevator pitch. I help my clients improve their golf game. I mean, gosh, I got to work on mine for trade show season.
I'll
Well,
give you homework.
yeah. If something Jeff said today made you think a little bit differently about how you connect with people or how you show up in conversations, that is our win. And that's our takeaway for today. And these Second Tuesday tune-ups, they exist because being in business, it can feel isolating. And leadership is learned in real time in moments like this. And it's not about pressure. We need that clarity, language, and systems that actually work in our real lives. So if today helped you build better connections, even just a little, then it did exactly what it's supposed to do. Jeffrey, thank you again. And thank you for coming and spending your time with us here at Bird's Eye Social.
Happy to be
Appreciate
here.
Thank you.